Hi, it's Rosie from RoseByNameCo. How's everybody today? We're going to continue our binge on the collages that we made in the last count them, four videos. And we're going to make some tags out of these. So what we're going to need, of course, is our collages. We're going to need the cutting board so that we can cut them up. And possibly scissors to cut the corners. A ruler to measure to see how big we want them, or if we want to measure, we don't necessarily have to, and some distress ink so that we can distress the edges, because, well, I like to distress pretty well everything. I'm trying to slow down on distressing. We don't necessarily have to distress everything, but it just gives it a little bit more of an edge and highlights whatever is in the middle and so on. Now we're going to see, once we cut these up, whether they will stand up on their own, what's already here, or we might use it as a base and then put some particular subject on these. So let's get started on the first one. This is the first one that we made, and we're just going to see. I have a tag that is a bought tag. I'm just going to see what the measurement of that is. So it's about 2.5 by about 4.5 inches. So I might want to cut some, doesn't have to be all of them, on this size, and then some on a different size. I have a new cutter here, so let me just see if I can actually manage this to figure it out, to see where I'm cutting, what I'm cutting. So I just want these to be about this size. Doesn't necessarily have to be exactly, but there we go. So about that size. And let's see if we can manage to cut this a little bit straight. Just make sure. Okay. Alrighty. We managed to get it cut. Now one is a little bit taller. It's going to be, next one we'll just leave this size. That will be about 5.5 inches, so a little bit taller. I like some taller tags and short tags and mini tags and so on. So let's see how much we want this one to be, about this size. So we're going to cut that one about here. Let's see. We do it? Oh, okay, we did it this time. Okay, so here we go. We did one. Here's one tag, and then what we can do is figure out which one you want on the top. And let me see, it kind of goes this way. It doesn't necessarily have to go, as far as text is concerned, you know, in the right way, readable, but you might as well, right? So just cut it. And I think we have our first tag now. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful just the way it is, really. You don't really even have to add anything to it. Now on the back, of course, I will put some of the coffee dye paper for writing on top, and then straight stitch around, because it already has lots of zigzag and different patterns on here. So we're just going to make it like a regular stitch around that. So that's one tag that we cut out, and we're going to keep going. The next one doesn't have to be exactly, again, let's just see. We're going to do this one as big as this one, and then whatever is left over will just stay the way it is. I just like to make it a little bit straight, and let's see if we can manage with the cutter, because we're having a problem with the cutter. Oh, we did it. Yay. Okay, so we have this one, and we're gonna just take a little look. Now it has sideways writing and so on, and I think I'm gonna put this one this way and just match it up on the top and do the sides. I do some of the tags, I don't actually cut the corners. I leave it straight on top, but for the most part I do like to have them cut up. So that's two. And then this one, let's take a look at this one. Let's see if it has any. Yeah, let's put it this way. Well, it just happens to be exactly this size as well. Okay. So we have 3 tags over here. for now. Now we're going to cut up this one. And it can be in the same size, let's say. We can continue this first sheet in the same size, and then we'll make the second sheet in some different sizes. Now this one is going to be a little bit longer, however. So let's make it long and narrow. So let's see if we can get this cut up here. Okay, good job. And let's do one more cut and then we're done on this one. Did we do it? Yes. Okay, so this one has some beautiful trim over here, a little bit of, I like to put just a little bit space for writing, like for a date perhaps. And then on the back, you can write your little story. In the front, maybe a title or a date or something. So I do like to put some free space on a tag for that purpose, because I like to put a date myself and or a title or a name or something that I have in mind. Now these edges you can cut off or you can leave them, whatever is your preference. This one here, let's see. Now even the sides really, you can also just do by eye instead of measuring. You can make them a little bit more slanted if you want. You don't always have to measure precisely. And let's see this one. So yeah, let's do this one just like that. And whatever happens. There we go. So these are our first set of tags that we made from the first sheet. We're binging on tags, collaging sheets, and we have tags of all kinds with collages on them, ready to use as they are, or add some particular subject on top that you are doing for your journal. And this is each one of these. So how many did we make here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 of them from the first page. We're going to continue to the next one. So then here is our second sheet that we did. We binged on this collage as well. We have a couple of actual main focus characters here that we can use on their own. So now this one, I like this size as far as the width. And this width is, let me see, about 3 inches. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. It's 3 by 4, but I'm going to make it maybe a 3 by 5 or so. So anyways, about 3 inches. So I will use this, and we're going to cut this one over here. Okay. Just straighten it out a bit. There we go. Do anything? Yes. Okay, so that's one. And now for this one, you can go this way as well if you wish. Now for the bird, I want to go this way, I believe. And let me see if I can, yeah, I can make her this size. And then make this one the other way. So sometimes, if you already do have a main focal point on here, then you might want to see exactly where you want to be cutting so that you salvage the actual subject on the card. So let's see. If something happens to come up, you just use a little glue and put it down. We're going to work on that in a second. And let's just see where we can cut the bird up. Over here. Let's cut it. See about here. So okay, this one's not cutting. Let me see. Let's try again. Need quite a bit of force, it looks like, on this cutter. Okay, so this is the bird. It's separate now, and now we have this one. Now, do we want to use a square? We might possibly use the square. Yeah, let's leave this one as a square. Just a little bit different shape tag. And let's see how long we want to do this one. And let's see, it's altogether 7 inches, but let's go about 4.5 so that we have a small tag here as well. So about here, right when this tiny lettering is. Okay, so we'll have a small tag here, medium and large and so on. So different sizes we'll have. And on this one, we might go the same on this one, so that we have something on the bottom. I mean, we could have a tag this size as well. Should we leave this one a larger one? Yeah, let's leave this one a little bit larger. So from this collage, which was the second sheet, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we have 5 of these, so let's just give them a little bit more dimension. We're just going to see where we might put these tops. Okay, so there we go with 1. And now where you end up with these bigger ones, I still use the same tag here as far as where I'm going to put, cut the corners and just move them around. It's just fine this way. And this one, I also like to make corners round. I just didn't bring my rounder, which I like to use a lot. So I might actually do round corners on this one. Just going to leave it for now. And then now, should we put this on top or on the bottom? Let's put it on the bottom just to make sure that nothing gets cut off, or if we're putting some lace or something, whatever we're going to put on top, it doesn't cut off the main image. And there we go. Okay, so we're done with these, and we have one more sheet to go. There we go. We'll put those aside for now. So now for our last sheet that we did, it was the index card. This is what it looks like in the back. It looks like a little piece of fabric got stuck on here. That's okay. It does have a few focal points, the tree here and January. So we're going to leave January as it is. So we're just going to cut right down here where this little round thing is, indent for the index card. So just going to put it about here so that January stays intact. Okay, we did it. So that'll be our January card. And then what's left over here is a larger square. So what we might do is, let's do a little bit larger card here. So about this much. And then let me see. Okay. It's a little bit trickier to cut because you have all this sewing. So anyways, we have a little bit wider card and a narrower card. I think they're already just fine. So we'll just see what we want on top or bottom. Now everything has a bit of color scheme to it as well, so that you can actually, you know, see what colors you might be using in the journal. I think I'm maybe wanting it like this, so I just do put it here and just let it go a little bit longer, and this, so we're good. Okay, so on this one we have 3 tags, journal tags that we managed to make, and let me just show you a little bit of a close-up. It's beautiful, beautiful fabric here, and trim and image, and just the colors of it too, just very beautiful. And this one also, I love that there's a punch of red down here and so on. It's a beautiful background for something, or as it is, and this one is the January one, also very pretty. So we're going to put these here, and then we're going to continue. We're going to put holes in the top and do some distressing and see what else we can do next. So another thing you would need here is your hole puncher, so that, let me see if we can manage to get some holes into this. Now, not all of them need to have a hole, but well, we'll do a few of them. we go. So that's one. Let's try this one, see if we can get a hole in it. More like over here, maybe. Okay, this one was a little bit easier. Now this one has a fabric right here, so we might actually put a trim or a lace on top without actually having a hole in it. This is a bigger one. It has... Okay, so that was a good one for a hole. This one is the square one that we're going to put round corners on, so we're not going to put a hole in that one. Let's see this one. Okay. Now this one has some fabric, so we'll leave that one. This one has sewing right there, but let's see if we can get it down here. Okay. And this one. Let me see. This one is a paper. Yes. Okay, let's leave one without the hole. Hole. And let's leave the little one without a hole. So, okay, so we have holes in all of them. Let's see if we can distress some of this. Now, some people like to forward the video during distressing. I don't. I like to watch it. I like the sound of distressing, and I like the look of it, and so I don't forward. So please do distress all you want. But I'll try to be quick on most of these. Now I'm not doing the back because of course I'm still putting the coffee dyed paper on it, on the back for writing. As you can see, the distressing just gives it that oomph, that edge, to make it pop out even more than just the regular paper. For me anyways, that's my thing. Maybe not everybody's thing to distress, and that's okay if you don't. Some things I've learned not to distress as far as in the journal itself. Either I don't have time all the time, or really it's not so necessary to make everything look so vintage. But I do like the vintage look, which is mostly why I do the distressing. Just a white notebook is not something that interests me. I do want some kind of motivation on it. Something old is for sure an interest for me. Anything old, even old bills or old photographs. I especially like old photographs. I do have a couple of boxes full of old photographs that I try to use. But then when I try to use it in my kits or in my journals for sale, I'm like, no, but I really like that image and I really want to keep it. So I end up keeping a lot of things, but in reality, I should be using them up. But each one is just old photographs. Each one is just seems so precious and personal that it's like, oh my God, how can anybody even get rid of it in the first place? Because they're such treasured memories. So anyways, here's the last one. And I think we're just about done on completing our Collage Binge. We've done all the tags and we cut them up and we see what they actually look like, and I'm loving it myself, just to use as is or with anything I might use in a journal. And just like this one here, for example, you know, if you're doing something with nature or birds, you could use this one, or you could put a bird on one of these. So I'm going to actually bring up my stash and just show you a little bit, one or two, what it might look like if you put something on it. So let me just get rid of these. There's a little bit of a look at our work here, and let's do just a couple to see what they would look like with some images on it. I have here my other stash of leftovers, ribbons and fabric and papers that I might use during collaging. I do, look at this, I do have these very, very interesting twice round, I guess they are euchre scorecards. I don't know why I happened to come by them at some sort of thrift store, I guess, and they are just beautiful. And I'll be using those at some point, either as a journal tag or just by themselves probably. And then I have some cuttings that I did. Each night I cut whatever it is I might have, because at some point I'll be using them. So let's take a couple of these tags that we made and see what kind of interesting thing we might put on top. Let me see. This actually, I like it right across, or I might cut it a little bit. Yeah, I might cut it a little bit so as not to cover all of this. So you don't really have to even cut it. You can just rip it up, and I will put this over here. And if I have anything else, I might add, let me see, what do I have here? A little bit of something that I stamped up. I also have little bits that I just, whatever leftovers I had, I stamp it up. I will do a video on that as well. It's very interesting and very useful. At some point you might need those. So let's see if I put that here, and then maybe that on top. Let's make it a little bit smaller so that we can get more in without covering this brown. I wanted to keep it, and that, and then that on top. Now if I feel this is still too much, I will trim it off. So I will put this like this, and I think this is pretty nice. And then we will find some, let's see, purple ribbon, or I think this is sorry, silk, and we will use that on the top. So what I like to do is just prepare what I will use, and then I will glue it down. So let me just look at this one. Let's see, this one, we have a little bit of pinkish there, green. So let's see, do I have anything pink that might fit right in? Yeah, now, if I already put this one on this side, I would like to put this one on the other side. So I might cut that or rip it right down here and just add that over here. So let's just go with this and put it over here without covering up a lot of this. I really don't want to cover it up because we want these for texture. So as far as anything else that I might put in there, let me see, there's a little bit of purple also, or a little bit of just something contrasting like yellow. Let me see what I have over here in the yellow. I have just a little piece. I might add that. So in essence, we are still collaging. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, I might put that here, just for a little bit of something different, and to make the flowers stand up. Or let me see if I might even put it here. Yeah, actually, yeah. So now you see this flower a little bit more. And I do like to use I collect a lot of the coffee paper, from the coffee grounds. You take that off and throw out the coffee grounds and use up whatever little bits that you have. Maybe I'll put that here. So I'll glue that here. Now as far as the top, let me see. I could go with yellow. I do have yellow here. Or let me see. Yeah, I saw this one. I do like this kind of greenish brown, light brown, whatever that is. So we're going to use a little bit of that. I don't want to go too pink or anything on that. Now this one here, look, I have some fabric that I got from, I don't know, somewhere. It says airmail. So I'll be using that up somewhere for sure. Trusty Elmer's glue stick. And let's just put a little bit more. Put a little bit of glue on here and put it right there. And then the flower. top over here. I don't want to cover up too much of that or the fiber that we have right here, because I want it still to be sticking up very well. Now you can, if you got glue on this here, I often like to just turn this over instead of actually cutting it. I think it holds this down a little bit more. Now if there is something really that's bothering you, like this little piece, we will cut that off. But otherwise, this one's good. And now here I used to use the little round things that you put on here. What are they called? Protectors or reinforcers? But I haven't really used them much lately, really. I don't think it's even necessary. I don't know if I cut this enough to go through here. Let me see. Sometimes I just sew it right on. And let me see. Cut it a little bit short. But, oh, see, I ripped it a little bit now. But it will do. Okay. Now, sometimes if you feel that it won't hold, I just run through it. Well, which we will be doing anyhow. When we put the backing on, then I will run through it with the sewing machine. Now, I should have waited to put this on when I have the backing on as well. But just because I want to show you now, I put it on ahead of time. And let's see this one. Now this one doesn't actually have a hole, or I'm covering it. No, it doesn't have a hole. So that one is, we might use what I chose, or we might put something different. Let me see what that looks like. And let's put this little piece on top. And you can scrunch it up. It doesn't have to be like flat, or I actually like it a little bit scrunched up so that's a little bit more like, a little bit adds a little bit to the vintage and a little bit more to the texture. So I am to me, I guess texture is quite important on a tag. Doesn't have to be, it's just my thing. So there we go. And we'll put the flower on. Now the flower I could also distress, but we'll just leave it as it is for now. I don't want to cover up too much of this, so I'm going to watch it and put it like that. I'm just going to turn this over. There, if you have something sticking up, just put a little more glue. And if it does want to stick at all, because there's fabric here, they might want to use a little bit of fabric tack. I'm not sure how to say it, but anyways, I do have that, and I use it a lot on covers and mostly and so on. So now I wanted to put this. Let me see. We still could. We can put it like this. Okay. So there's no problem. It's not like it has to be that type. This one I made a little bit short, but it will do. And there, maybe about this size. So again, normally I would put the backing on the back and sew it all up. But the main part of this video is to show you the collaging. So, because we're collage binging. I don't know, I came up with that word because, well, that's really what it is. Once you get into something, you binge on it. Just like, you know, eating chocolate. Once you have one, and well, you can never stop there. You have to binge now on a few more. So these are the tags that we made, and we're done with our collage binge on sheets. And these are now tags and ready to be used in a journal. So I hope you had fun doing this with me, and we'll try it out. And come back again sometimes. Maybe subscribe to my channel. Give me a comment. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, it's Rosie from RoseByNameCo. Thanks. Bye-bye.